All right, Dominica, good afternoon to you. As we continue to explore the reasons why Dominica and Antigua is included or are included on the list of countries restricted January 1, 2026. Almost like a partial visa ban. Well, we heard the Prime Minister this morning, and we have the leader of the United Workers' Party on hand. He too has been warning for some time. But first, let's listen to Mr. Skerrit saying he is very surprised that Dominica found itself on that list after passing legislation there just in October to include residency. Prime Minister Skerrit.
I mean, we were surprised by the actions of the United States. But first of all, let me make it clear that we respect the sovereignty of the United States. Like any other nation, it has the right to take whatever decisions it believes maybe in its national interest. So we're not at odds with the United States on this matter. But certainly we are surprised by the action, because the reason given by the United States government for this decision is that our program does not have a residency requirement. As you know, the Caribbean countries with CBI programs entered into an agreement and subsequently enacted legislation. In Dominica's case, we enacted the legislation on October 15, 2025, and central to that legislation and agreement is the requirement of residency. Now, both the agreement and the legislation were thoroughly reviewed by the United States through the United States Department and, of course, the Treasury Department and our friends at the U.S. Embassy in Barbados. They were all fully engaged. The U.S. gave us some very important feedback, and they gave their okay and approval to the final draft of both the agreement and the legislation which was passed. So the U.S. have been fully engaged in this matter. So for the reason that was given, we were surprised by it because that has been dealt with. Among other concerns which the United States has had with regards to our CBI programs, including enhanced due diligence, including the name change, and all of those are central to the legislation. From the moment we heard of this, we got notice of it through the media like everyone else. We immediately made contact with the U.S. Embassy in Barbados and our contacts in the State Department. And everyone indicated to us that they had no formal information on this. that they were surprised by the action, and that they will seek to get information for us to transmit to us on what actions can be taken, if any, on this. I would urge us as citizens not to be too anxious at this moment. Allow the government to get the information from the State Department, from the US Embassy, whatever actions we have to take to address the concerns, if any, of the United States, then we're prepared to do so, as we have done on many occasions with the 6-point plan that they provided to us, and of course with the involvement in the legislation and the agreement which we entered into. So the reason given was a bit surprising to us and surprising to everyone we spoke to in the US government. It could very well be a situation of miscommunication between the White House and the other arms of the government in the United States. So the Department of the Government of the United States, the Department and the Department of Treasury. And I must say that the US itself was the most engaging and the most supportive in respect to the review of the agreements and the review of the legislation. So we will continue to work on this.
On the line with me, joining me via StreamYard, is Dr. Thompson Fontaine, just elected again to the leadership position of the United Workers' Party. Dr. Thompson Fontaine, and of course others in the party, have been warning for some time. We have heard many episodes on this CBI program, warning over and over again. As a matter of fact, the United Workers' Party just took the government to court on the very issue, asking for transparency. Let me say good afternoon to Dr. Fontaine. How are you doing, Doctor? How are you?
Matt, good afternoon. I'm doing well. All is good.
All is good. I have not gotten the occasion to say congratulations to you. You know, you've been, of course, elected again to lead the United Workers' Party. But let's move on, Dr. Thompson Fontaine. This is a burning issue. Everybody's talking about it for the past few hours in the morning there. Dr. Fontaine, how concerned are you about what is going on in Dominica Reader's Visa scandal that has exposed, of course, we have been exposed to read the United States. Speak to us about that. Your thoughts.
Yes, Matt, you know, I am extremely concerned about the actions that have been taken by the United States of America, concerned because I believe that this could have been avoided. Our government has refused to listen to its citizens, Are
you there, Doctor?
Matt, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Our government has refused to listen to its citizens. I remember as early as 2010, I sounded the alarm on the CBI program. And for my efforts, I remember I was sued by the Prime Minister over this very same issue, a case which appeared in court briefly and then mysteriously disappeared because I had the weight of evidence in regards to our CBI program being given to persons receiving that not being duly vetted. Some of the very same reasons that the Americans are raising right now. It is true that they mentioned the residency criteria in the sense that they have not been used, but I think a more concern to them has been the lack of vetting, the lack of due diligence being done on persons. And that is a protection that they are seeking now for their own national security issues. They are afraid that persons will sneak into the United States on a Dominican passport or receiving a visa on a Dominican passport, because we know all the problems of the change of names and everything else that we highlighted. I mean, the Dominican public is well aware of those issues because we have been raising them over and over again. Now we have gotten to the point where the Americans have taken action and it is going to impact every single Dominican. It's also going to have some impacts as well on our own economy. And I must say, Matt, when I heard it last night, I immediately reached out to the United States Embassy because there appeared to have been some confusion. And it is true, the United States Embassy themselves, they were just receiving the news like us, apparently. And they were still sorting through the proclamation. I was able to get a copy directly from them of the original proclamation from the White House, as well as the fact sheet. And based on that, I realized how serious this was, or this is. I guess the only positive thing, if there is a positive out of it, is that it does not apply to persons who already are in possession of visas. It does not apply to athletes, it does not apply to diplomats, and it does not apply to green card holders. So that is good. But the fact of the matter is, beginning January, no new immigrants will be allowed from Dominica, and no new visas will be issued because of this ban.
Yeah, because people have been asking, if I have a visa, can I still go to the United States? People have questions about that. But you're saying that that's clear. If you have a visa, you can still visit the United States.
Yes. And that's the reason why it is referred to as a partial ban. If it was a total ban, regardless or not whether you had a visa, you'd not be able to enter. But it is still a partial ban. They will review it again in exactly 6 months. They will review with a view to either increasing the penalty or removing it. So we have to look forward to basically the end of June, when there'll be another review conducted. And if the government of Dominica has not made the necessary changes, there is a likelihood that it could move from a partial ban to a total ban. And if you move from a partial to a total, then it means that there'll be no entry for anyone. But for now, at least we have that exemptions that have been granted.
But Dr. Thompson-Fontaine, both the Prime Minister of Dominica and you've heard the Antiguan Prime Minister as well, is saying, well, we just passed new legislation, so why are they including us?
But I think it is too little too late. The legislation that has been passed talks about a 30-day residency. I mean, you're coming on a holiday. That's not residency for 30 days. So I think that's what the Americans are pushing back against. Anybody can come for 30 days. It doesn't mean you'll be able to know the person. I guess what they're trying to establish is that if you're going to do those programs, the people must have a greater tie to the country, as it is done, for example, in America. If you want to get the citizenship through that program, you have to be established, you have to have a business, you have to employ people. The presence has to be maintained. And the 30 days that is alluded to in the legislation, I believe that is where the Americans are saying it is not enough. And the reason why
that's not enough. That's just not enough.
It's not enough. Because if you notice, they have listed that as the official reason, or the main reason why they are denying entry is because of the residency criteria.
Mr. Thompson, Dr. Fontaine, if you're elected, say, Prime Minister tomorrow, why would you change with the CBI? Why would you change?
But I would change several things about the CBI, including the fact that the due diligence system that is now engaged in. But I think more importantly, Matt, we've said it before, and I will reiterate very strongly that the United Workers' Party government will look to phase out as quickly as possible the CBI program. I've always maintained that this program is not sustainable, that the country should not be built on this. We have enough resources within the country that we can build without the CBI program, and we will work very, very quickly to phase it out. But until such time, we will do everything possible to ensure that it is credible and all of the issues and concerns that have been raised internationally will be addressed. But I fear, Matt, that it is already too late for this. It is very likely that in the new year, we will get further restrictions from the Europeans. The European Parliament is looking at imposing restrictions, and I believe that will be the death blow for the CBI program, if that happens.
So you're saying, Thompson, you would phase it out, or you just end it altogether? Because some people are saying, let's end this, let's stop this CBI program altogether. Some people are suggesting that.
Yeah, Matt, 60% of the 60% of the
your dog is trying to get involved in that conversation there.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
So, yes. 60% of the revenues currently used by the government comes from the CBI program. That is 60%. All right. So what this effectively means is that this 60% you can't just replace overnight. All right. It will take time. It means that if we were to shut it down right away, we immediately lose 60% of revenues that are used now to pay public servants and to take care of the government business. So it's not something you can just go in and dismantle immediately. It has to be a phased approach to that. It has to be a responsible approach, but with the knowledge that it will not last, it cannot last. And that's the reason why we are hoping that we'll have success with the CBI program, because at least it will be able to attract a lot more resources, more of these revenues will be able to come into the country, and we'll be able to use that as a foundation or as a base to invest in the other sectors of the economy that we want to develop, like agriculture, like the tourism industry, like our water industry, those areas that we want to develop. We have to use some of those resources to do that so that we can wean ourselves out of the CBI program.
So you're saying the CBI you think has been used in the wrong way?
Absolutely, Matt. We've maintained that over and over again. This senseless building of hotels, complete waste of time, in my view. These monies, I repeat, should have gone into agriculture, should have gone into manufacturing, should have gone into creating jobs for the average Dominican, should have gone into sustaining our farmers, should have gone into better pay for our public servants. There's a lot of good uses that this money should have been put to, none of them used by the government. And this idea that you can build hotels only is a really bad idea, and it has not worked for us. We have not made use of the billions of dollars that we have received over this program over the years, and we must have known that one day it will come to an end. I'm not happy that it is ending, because the Dominican public is the one that are going to suffer for it. Not only are we going to be losing the revenues from it, but we're going to be losing access to the United States, and you know how close the ties there are to the United States. I did a survey a couple of years ago, and as much as 67% of Dominicans who traveled to the US on visas did not return. You know, so we have this very, very close tie with the United States of America, and it will impact Dominicans in a very disproportionate manner. And obviously, we'll also have lingering impacts on our economy.
You know, somebody's saying that some people suggested this morning this issue is big enough to ask the Prime Minister to step down or resign over this.
Absolutely, Matt. Absolutely. I mean, that's a fundamental failure by this government. And it is clear that at this stage, after 25 years, the Labour Party government has run out of ideas. They have absolutely no solutions to the problems that are now plaguing us, increasing social problems, increasing levels of violence that we've seen in Dominica, the shrinking economy. They seem to be completely at their wits' end, not knowing what to do. And it seems like the response that they've been...
Are you basically saying they run out of ideas?
They have a long time ago, Matt. It's clear. I mean, no creative ideas. You heard the Prime Minister, for example, on Monday. You were at the press conference when he agreed with us that the minimum wage legislation was simply catching up with what people were already paying. Businessmen are taking on their own to pay people more than the government had in the legislation. And he was now putting legislation in place that would catch up to what people are already paying. So it tells me that this government has really run out of ideas. And the Prime Minister, and I will add my voice to that call for his resignation. I believe the Prime Minister has failed the Dominican public. And that to me should be the last nail in that coffin, you know, that you are denying thousands of Dominicans in the future access to the United States, access to their families, access to education. That is a huge problem. I mean, even F1 visas will be affected. Students, you know, will not be able to go in and get new, you know, I mean, this is huge. And we are paying a heavy price for the maladministration of this government, a government who refused to listen. Instead of trying to sue me and taking me to court in 2010, you would have been better served to have listened to the very sound suggestions I was making for this program. If he had done that, we would not be where we are today. You know, but this Prime Minister has been stubborn in his ways. He saw it as free money. He saw it as posturing. He takes nothing seriously. And to make matters worse, Matt, the Prime Minister, I did not see it in our local press. We probably missed it, but it was reported in.
Are you there? I suspect we missed that conversation there. Let's see if we can connect again. Dr. Fontaine, are you there?
Yes, man, I'm still there.
You're saying we missed something. I think we missed that point. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Somehow my computer froze.
Yeah, you said you said the local press and we may have missed something.
Yes, man. I believe the local press may have missed it, but the Prime Minister, he was quoted very widely in the Trinidad press that he had offered his services to mediate between the US and Venezuela. In fact, I spoke to a very well-placed source in the United States, and they were suggesting to me, it was their view, but they were suggesting to me that this action by the Trump administration is payback, is the answer to our Prime Minister from the President of the United States, because they view it as a complete insult, you know. And so to take these very serious and weighty matters, Dominica is in no position to mediate between anybody. To be able to mediate any kind of issue like this, you need the support staff, you need the gravitas of the office and so on. None of that is possessed by this government. And so to do that, it did come across as an insult. And who knows that the decision was only hastened because of that stupid statement made by the Prime Minister. So that's why I say, Matt, you know, it is clear to me that he has lost his way as far as governance is concerned. And it is absolute time for the Prime Minister of Dominica to resign. He said he was going in April. He could have saved himself that embarrassment. You know, I don't think now it's too late for him to reconsider that he should leave office and allow the country to heal itself and to get back to where we were.
But tell me, you did say that, of course, you know, the Prime Minister should resign over this. So how do you plan to mobilize the opposition, you know, in that regard to get the Prime Minister to, if you want, step down from that office?
But we have to keep applying pressure on him to do that. Of course, the most obvious and direct pressure that would be applied is to have thousands of Dominicans, you know, turn up on the streets in protests. That's always the best way to do it. If you want to force quick action, that is the ideal. You know, whether that is feasible, and I say whether it's feasible because we've had instances of recent protest action where we put in all of the effort, all of the energy, and we were not supported by the people. Maybe this is the one that will get the people energized and come out in the numbers. We'll see.
So you would call Thompson if they listen to persons and that has been lacking there from a lot of critics, to call your people out on the streets in the thousands to take action against this. Would you encourage that?
You know, the problem about this, as I said, is that the willingness of the people to actually do it, and even when we've gone out, we've put. I mean, I could not imagine a more important matter as that of electoral reform, because that is where you're going to get a sanitized list and you're going to have free and fair elections in Dominica. Nothing to me trumps that. Yet, even after a Herculean effort, we put in all of the emphasis into it, Dominicans did not show up. And that was extremely disappointing to me. And it tells me that our people seem less willing now compared to how we were in the 1970s and 80s to come out in our numbers to protest. But that, if you're talking about a potential issue that calls for protest, is one of it, and it's a complete mishandling of the affairs of state by this government.
Dr. Thompson Fontaine, what is the next step for you right now? You'll be meeting the executive?
The next step, we will be having a press conference. We'll be holding a press conference tomorrow at 11 o'clock at the Prevost Cine Mall, which will be aired live on all the social media, and I believe it will be on your program as well. So it will allow us an opportunity to talk to some of those issues, this being one of them. The recent ban. We'll also be talking about the issue of violence, increasing levels of violence in the country, and what needs to be done about it. We'll be offering some solutions, some suggestions to the government on how to deal with some of these pressing issues, because it appears to us that they have lost the way. They don't have the answers to the pressing problems that this country faces, and we'll be able to offer some solution in our press conference tomorrow. So we want our people to come out and do that. Beyond that, Matt, we actually started our new executive running yesterday. We went the entire executive elected committee members. We went to Casibros for an afternoon of meeting the people on the ground, the entire executive. We had a really wonderful time there in Casibros, and it shows a renewed determination on the part of this new executive to be more present on the ground and to really take the message of shared prosperity to every single constituency around Dominica, to offer the people hope. I believe now, man, more than ever, the Dominican public need hope. The Dominican public needs something to hang on to, because they've been miserably failed by this government. The government has failed us over and over and over again. There's no hope in this country. The situation is getting worse by the day with all of this increasing violence. The economic situation is not getting better. The hardships are piling up on the people of Dominica. And they're frankly saying enough is enough. In fact, that is the message that we got yesterday in Casibros. Enough is enough. People are ready to do what is necessary to get rid of this government.
Let me ask you one more question before you go. If you had to advise Mr. Skerrit today, read this visa issue in terms of getting some solution, what would it be? What would it be there, Dr. Fontaine?
But the problem about this,
visa saga, yes.
Yeah, the issue that I see and the problem about all of this is that for years, so many, many years, the governments, the United Kingdom government, the British, the governments of the European Union and the United States, they have been advising, they have been cajoling, they have been talking to this Prime Minister about what needed to be done with the program. The last ditch effort that they did a few months ago with the legislation was really the last straw. And even then, it did not come out as being strong enough. So as far as the Americans, as far as the British, as far as the Europeans are concerned, this is too little, too late. And it appears to me that nothing at this point can really rescue this program, because if you're going to do what they require, for example, if you're going to do the residency criteria, where people have to come and stay 5 years in Dominica, you're going to move from, say, 1,000 passports being issued every 3 months to 0 passports. Okay, people are not going to come because they don't really want a piece of Dominica. They want a piece of our document, of our passport. All right. If they're going to do the kind of heavy vetting that is required, the kind of enhanced due diligence, again, there are other choices that they will bypass the program. So it seems to me that anything that can be done now, while it may be good to stabilize the program, it will not help the program itself. So quite frankly, Matt, we are witnessing the beginning of the end of this, and the day has come. I honestly do not see how this thing can be rescued. Unless, of course, you can put a moratorium on it. You can shut it down for a while and try to re-engineer it, to redo it over with all of those safeguards. That is one way of doing it. But even going that route will take time, and it will restrict very much on the numbers that you're getting. And that itself is going to be a big blow to the program. So we're in a very difficult place, make no bones about it. And notwithstanding the cheerful tone of the Prime Minister this morning, he's not a happy camper. He must be quaking. He must be realizing that, hey, buddy, we are at the end of the road. And, and I'm sure now discussions are being held as to how are we going to get out of this? How are we going to pull ourselves out? It does appear to me, Matt, that the travel ban itself, or per se,
but he did say this point that he's going to send a diplomatic note to Washington. So maybe we expect answers at the end of this note.
Yes, but I think the note that he's sending to the United States is just for clarification in terms of what exactly it means. It's similar to what we posed to the United States Embassy. Now, I was making the point that the fact of the visa ban is not going to impact the program. The reason for that is in my previous discussions with the United States government, they assured me that what they are doing when somebody with a Dominican passport comes to apply for a visa, they do not go on the Dominican passport. They go on the person's place of birth. So if you're coming for Dominican passport and you're an Iranian, they would apply the rules of entry for Iranians to come into the United States. So there are no issues per se for persons getting the CBI program as far as the United States is concerned. In other words, nothing would have changed. The people that will be more heavily impacted will be our locals, Dominicans who have to go and see their families, Dominicans who have to go and visit or probably go to a funeral of the family in the States and so on, go to school, that kind of thing. The other issue that is absolutely going to impact the persons receiving our passports, of course, is whether or not the European Union takes action. So if that happens, if the European Union decides, as we suspect they will sometime next year, take the decision to suspend visa access to holders of the Dominican passport, that is where the problem is going to be the biggest, because the vast majority of persons getting Dominican passports will looking to use it to enter Europe and not the United States.
Very interesting. I suspect we'll continue to monitor the situation. Thompson, we'll talk again sometime, maybe at the news conference tomorrow. Thank you again.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now. At this point, we are also looking for some answers from financial consultant Mr. Rijok, who explained why the United States, of course, is taking that decision. We'll play that response in for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to taking your phone calls. Take that. Antigua and Dominica are asking the question, why are we on the list when we just recently passed legislation in that regard?
Well, sir, you need to read the exact text of the presidential proclamation, which came directly from the office of President Donald Trump. Let me explain. It is the historical failure of Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda to place residential requirements for their CBI passport holders. This has nothing to do with what will happen perhaps in the future with one of these, frankly, BS 30-day residential requirements. We're talking about 20 years of passports issued to people who have never been to Dominica, many who don't even speak English, know nothing about your culture and your history, and who therefore are now regarded as a national security threat to the United States of America. Remember the history. Dominica has issued CBI passports to Russians, to Iranians, to Syrians during the regime, to Chinese en masse, and to North Koreans. All of the chickens are now proverbially coming home to roost, and those years of abusing the CBI program now are going to have a direct effect on the native-born Dominican residents in your country. That's the problem, because now Dominican students who have a scholarship won't be able to come to the United States. Dominicans who want to visit in New York for pleasure won't get a visa. And Dominican businessmen who import 90% of their goods from the U.S. won't be able to come here and negotiate deals. It is a nightmare, a waking nightmare for Dominicans, and we've been warning about it for years. They needed to reform their program. They needed to push out the Chinese influence. None of that's ever been done. And since the United States regards the People's Republic of China as a national security threat to the U.S., and since China has increased its influence in the Caribbean, that now there is going to be pushback.
But again, Mr. Kenneth Rijok, you just heard, and I'm sure you may have read many statements being issued there. Ron Sanders spoke just this morning, and he said he met just yesterday with some U.S. officials, and that they did not see that coming. And we just heard from the Prime Minister this morning that they passed that legislation to, stop this, to include residency in October. So why are they being punished?
Well, that's because of the years of abuse in the CBI program, and whatever remedial action they try to take now cannot change 20 years of passports issued to dodgy people. Antigua had the same thing. They said, no, we've got a residential requirement just started. That has nothing to do with the history. And that's a failure to understand that this is coming from not just the State Department. It's coming from the top leadership in the United States. For weeks, I've been explaining that the assistant to President Trump for national security and policy, Stephen Miller, specifically has said, without true reform in the CBI programs, people who live in those countries are going to lose visa rights, and it's been totally ignored and disregarded. So I think that people should now remember that all of the remedial spin control statements that have been said for years by the Dominican government are just that, and that there has never been effective reform in the Dominica program, and they are now reaping the whirlwind.
Some serious business there with our, of course. Somebody says here, man, let me just review some of the statements. Somebody says, Matt, there is no clarification needed, and there will be no answer to the diplomatic note that Prime Minister sent out this morning. The recommendation was sent down 4 months ago, and it has not been followed carefully. So don't expect anything to change. Well, the residency requirement, based on what I'm picking up, is 1 month. Is that enough? Let's take a few phone calls, and of course we'll hear from another political party this afternoon. Hello, Mr. Black Pepper. How you doing? Talk to me quickly. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Matt.
How are you doing, sir? How are you doing? Yes.
I'm good, Matt. I'm just listening to the program. I'm listening to all what's going on.
Yes. What's your concern,
like every other?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Matt, I listened to Dr. Fonkin, and I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Right.
There's a lot of things he said, and it has been consistently being said over and over for years.
Okay.
And I don't think people understand how the CBI system works. He talked about the vetting process. The US have concerns about the vetting process, where too much crooks and criminals escape the vetting process, and as such, they are being able to acquire the citizenship, in order to do their movements or whatever to do, or use that to facilitate to do. Matt, this is very incorrect. Listen to me carefully. Matt, let's start there. He said, you asked him a question. You asked him if he were to come into government, would he shut down the system? And then he told you something like it's 60% of our revenue. So it's not something you can shut down, but you'll have to phase out gradually, right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, he said phase it out, yeah, gradually.
Am I right or wrong, man?
Yes, no, he said you can phase it out and eventually we'll get rid of it. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening. Yeah.
Matt, that's a very dangerous statement. Matt, in the predicament we are right now, based on how they view the program itself, you cannot come now on radio as the next aspiring leader of a country and say, because of the monetary returns it gives your economy, you cannot shut it down. And that is regardless of what's going on, you have to phase it out. That is a very dangerous statement.
But what? No, hold on. So what would be your alternative? Because if you shut it down, then there's no money coming in the country.
Well, Matt, the sad reality is this government has put us on a significant percentage of dependency on that revenue.
Right.
But the reality is, if we want to stay compliant with the economical world, we have to shut it down because there are issues with it. We cannot expect the outside world to compromise their security architect, their safety, their economical threat, and all of this just because we get a percentage of revenue to state from it. That is not their business. And when you fall in compliance with something that is wrong, you have to shut it down and review it. There's no if, but, no compromising about that. Uncle Trump not there to compromise while terrorists moving and doing what they're doing. That is not his business, and that should be nobody's business. What you have to do as an aspiring leader is to design some type of cushion in between that shutting down as to how you can just sustain. You're not going into building mode yet. You have to go into a level of sustenance first based on your current economical predicament. You have to stay so for a couple of years while you design an alternative to substitute the CBI revenue. You understand?
But I'm still not getting. Hold on. I said when I'm saying he said that he's going to phase out the program gradually before of course shutting it down, because you need some sort of revenue. What you have not answered the question. What is the revenue that would come into the country while you shut it down? That's my question to you. What is the immediate?
I'm just a Dominican, a regular person. That is why we elect professionals to act in their intellectual capacity.
But
that is not my fault. I'm not going to say something I cannot do that. That's not my side.
No, but you're criticizing. But you're criticizing. But we need to get answers.
Yes. But Matt, he is the best candidate to answer the alternative as an economist. Not me. I'm a consumer. He is the economist with all the experience. He should know exactly, after 25 years, a formula has to be on standby to resuscitate or just to keep Dominica stable as is out of CBI, not me.
All right.
And that is where you have to show. When you're working, Matt, now, Matt, that problem about that security architect, Matt, people must learn to understand that the vetting is not the determinator, Matt. The issue is not the vetting. The vetting is done properly. You know why I say that, Matt? The vetting, remember Mr. Skerritt said, the vetting is done by a U.S. firm. But Matt, if you operate it under any license in the U.S. and you're not falling into compliance or being very efficient at what you do, your license will be revoked for security reasons, especially under administration like Trump. Now remember, you have to put one and one together. You remember some time ago they interviewed Gaston Brown to the CBI. And Gaston Brown tell you, when they get the findings from the intelligence, from the due diligence, from the vetting agencies, the determinator is the government. You understand? So the vetting agencies are not the determinators. The people escape through the cracks. They furnish the governments with all the information, but they are not privy to make the decision. That is a big difference.
No, but you're saying that they're giving the information to the government, the vetting process that you're talking about, and this government still allow these people to get passports. That's what you're saying now,
Right. So, Matt, that is where Mr. Skerritt, from a personal perspective, puts himself into a predicament of his faith to do with being an accomplice or an accessory to many people who could be alleged in criminal activity. Because the vetting agencies on the investigation will show you this information was provided and vetted properly. So if any determinator continues to make a decision to grant something, they do it under the light of what you call knowingly. You become an accessory to the crime mass. That is where Dominica and the government is in a problem. It is not the vetting agency. It's a United States-based firm.
All right, I'll take you out on that note. Because there are many other people calling there. And I don't know if this government, let's be fair to them. I don't know if this government will be provided. Maybe you may be right, with some information revetting and chose to act against it. I just find it very, troubling there. But anyway, We'll take your phone calls and we'll move on. We have another political party in the house to share his view on that one. Mr. Francis is there, representing the UPP. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Next call. Yes, talk to me. Caller, are you there? I suspect not. Let's try another call. Are you there, caller?
May I speak, Mr. Felty?
I haven't heard that voice in a long time. Go ahead, sir.
Matt, is Thompson Fountain a member of the Dominican Labour Party presently?
No, he's not.
He could be the god in economics. He is not the one to answer to the question talking about an alternative. So as a doctor in finance, he tell you the logical thing to do is a phasing out process gradually. And you have a brother saying he should just say yes, just get rid of it, and then what? How much? 60-something %, Matt?
A lot.
We depending on the
yes, about like 67%. Yeah.
So how just topping it, Bram, going to that doesn't make sense. But let me tell Dr. Fountain, I hope you're listening. If you don't get it, somebody will tell you. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Look at the 8-year criminal matter they had in the court about trying to trying to overthrow government. They throw it out, no meeting. My brethren, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You see now, you said it is the appropriate time. There is nothing more important than collectively all of us going to be denied access to the U.S. Dr. Fountain, wherever you are, but get somebody with money. But call on the U.S. When you get caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, now is the time for, sacrifice. Now is the time for risk-taking chances. Call on America and Europe openly. Tell them all you want assistance to get rid of these criminals. So you talking about it, when we call. My brethren, one thing that is constant is change.
Are you there? For some reason, the call of blessings again. Hello, talk to me. Somebody says, what is Tad's point? CBI is not in itself is bad, It just need regulations. Now, that is not making any sense. Fountain has already mentioned on numerous occasions what is it he want to do. On the telephone, let's go on take another phone call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm there, Matt. This is Bernardito, GFP.
Yes, I.
Just to add to the discussion, and
yes.
I think it is. I heard a couple callers, and let me just state, I am in agreement with the position put out by Thompson and others.
Mm-hmm.
That we absolutely have to phase out CBI. There is no doubt that we have to do so. Okay, the position of placing our economy on basically selling pots of soup for our national sovereignty to pay bills it shows us to be a beggarly nation. It shows us that we do not believe we have innovation, we do not believe we have creativity, we do not believe in the capability of the Dominican people to create an economy we can be proud of. That is no position upon which to build a country. Let's just make that clear. And as we can see, the implications and the risks of doing so is far outweighs any short-term benefits. Further, we are doing short-term benefits for, it appears, a few people, while we are, what do we have to get for it? A few paved roads and a few apartments? Where is the development? With all that said, we can't simply be naive and not pragmatic to simply say, let us immediately end any sort of passport sales if we come into a new government. That would be the equivalent of telling a patient who is on dialysis that we are going to immediately withdraw the dialysis without you having given them a new kidney transplant. So they would die. And the same thing would happen in Dominica. We are now so dependent on this to pay recurring monthly expenditures that to withdraw this would be just economic Armageddon. So we have to be very careful in how we go about this. We have to be wise. We have to be pragmatic. We absolutely abhor the program, but we have to be smart in how we win Dominica of that program. And so like the metaphor of the patient, we have to create a new kidney. We have to create a new economy. We have to find new investment sources. We have to regenerate our agricultural base. We have to do certain things in the short term to medium term to create the sort of revenues that can sustain the country. There is no need for us to go into economic despair simply because we absolutely recognize the shortcomings of this program. So that is what we want to do, Matt, and that is what I want to say. Let us be wise. Let us be pragmatic. Let us not overreact. We will get rid of this program. We have to get rid of this program, but we have to do it in a way that doesn't absolutely sink the nation. And that's how we have to think about this. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on. Let's take one or two more phone calls before we introduce our next guest, Mr. Joshua Francis. Hello, yes?
Mr. Pelte.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you, sir. Go ahead.
Whoa, sir. They're on my case, my phone. Matt, I just wanted to say quickly, if you're listening to me, my brother, look at America in Venezuela there. Thompson, please call for help. And protestation in Dominica, public meeting, picketing, and everything has to come into place, my brother. Now is the proper time, you saying it. So if you were in a doubt, Thompson, that Dominicans are not ready, whatever were impeding the whole participation, Thompson, now is the time. Call for all the help that you can, because we get caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, my brother. So do what you have to do to mobilize the people for us to run Chichi out of this blood clot and place the hole in them think it is motherland. Thank you.
All right, somebody says, Matt, nonsense from Black Pepper. It's obvious that any new government will return to the sectors that will strengthen Dominica's economy. That's agriculture and tourism, and other related sectors which depend on finances to get them working, while the CBI program will be phased out. These above-mentioned sectors have negatively and deliberately been ignored, and now they're getting we are suffering as a result of they being ignored. So let's say good afternoon to Mr. Joshua Francis. I know your party released a statement on this ongoing issue. What's your take on what's going on, Mr. Joshua? Good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to your lovely and beautiful listeners. Bonjour, après-midi.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour.
I see you practicing. It's getting more,
It's getting better, Matt. The pathway is getting better and better.
It's getting better.
All right.
Yes, I'll give you a B+ now.
Oh wow, so I moved from a C- to a B+.
A B-.
A B-. I keep working on the patois. Makatoa vai asui.
All right, my brother.
Yes,
What's up? Yes.
I'm doing well, Matt. I'm doing well. Greetings. Yes, Matt. The United Progressive Party did issue a press release on the matter last evening.
Mhm.
I'm not too sure whether you have read it, and I don't know many of your listeners would have read it. So I would like to start with reading the statement,
Okay,
if I'm allowed.
go ahead.
So it goes like this. The United Progressive Party views with grave concern the recent proclamation by U.S. President Donald Trump to suspend visa privileges for Dominican nationals, a devastating consequence of the current administration's reckless mismanagement of our Citizenship by Investment program. This unprecedented action by the United States, suspending entry for Dominican nationals as immigrants and restricting B1, B2, F, M, and J visas, represents a catastrophic failure of governance that now punishes every single Dominican citizen for the negligence and dishonesty of our government. For years, this government has assured the Dominican people that rigorous due diligence procedures were in place to protect the integrity of our citizenship. These assurances have been exposed as deliberate falsehoods. The United States administration characterization of the Dominican passport as a security liability confirms that some of our leaders, including the leadership of the United Progressive Party, has long warned. The current government prioritizes revenue over reputation, profit over prudence, and political expedience over national security. The government maintained a Citizenship by Investment program without residency requirements, while systematically failing to implement the thorough vetting processes they claim that that supposed to be protecting our nation's good name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, innocent Dominican citizens, students seeking education, families visiting relatives, business people pursuing opportunities, and immigrants building new lives face the consequences of failures that were never theirs to bear. Every Dominican pays the price. These sanctions affect students whose educational dreams in American universities are now in jeopardy. Families separated by new barriers to reunion. Business professionals whose livelihoods depend on international mobility. Our diaspora, also affected, whose connection to their homeland is now complicated by their own government's failures. And finally, our international standing as a respected member of Caribbean community. This is not merely an inconvenience. This is national emergency that threatens the future prospects of an entire generation of Dominicans through no fault of their own. Where do we go from here? United Progressive Party calls for immediate action. 1, full transparency regarding the failures in the CBI program due diligence process, hence setting up a commission of inquiry to investigate the CBI program. 2, complete cooperation with United States authorities to address security concerns. 3, immediate reform of citizenship vetting procedures to international standards. 4, accountability for those responsible for this national disgrace. 5, a bipartisan commission of inquiry into the CBI. However, the ultimate remedies lies with the Dominican people. This government has demonstrated through its negligence, its dishonesty, and its failure to safeguard our national interests, and therefore it is unfit to continue to govern. Only a new administration committed to transparency, integrity, and the restoration of our international reputation can right these wrongs and restore the dignity that every Dominican deserves. Therefore, the United Progressive Party stands ready to rebuild what this government has destroyed: the trust of our international partners, the integrity of our institutions, and the promise of opportunity for every Dominican citizen. The time is now for accountability. Accountability is long overdue. The future of every Dominican depends on it. Thank you.
All right, so let's take a break and we'll come back, of course. We'll talk to Mr. Joshua Francis. Stick around, Dominica. This is Q95 FM. Talk on the block.
Enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your property. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till your flood again, can't wait till your roof fly out and all your business coming out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season. Insure with a company who gives you the assurance of payment for your valid claim. Come speak with us today at the New India Assurance Company Limited, upstairs AC Shillingford and Company Limited, 24 King George Street, Roseau. Bring along an up-to-date valuation from a qualified engineer and get insured today.
Creole Habit in collaboration with title partners TBS Radio, Big Edge Financial Express, the Dominican Lotteries Commission, Going Global Entertainment, and the Sandman present the 2025 Dominican Music Awards, Saturday, January 3rd, 2026 at the Intercontinental Hotel, 6 p.m. The Royal Red Carpet entrance. Other partners include the Sandman Calypso Artist of the Year, Texia Rio Artist of the Year, ACS New India Assurance, Calypso Artist of the Year, Nature Island Press Production, Gospel Artist of the Year, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, Band of the Year, Do It Center Social Media Influencer of the Year, the Republic Bank Photographer of the Year, KFC, Junior Male and Female Artist of the Year, Courts, Male Artist of the Year, Bob and Sarah, Songwriter of the Year, Rainbow Hill Villa, Zuccoba Artist of the Year, Joshua Francis, Album of the Year. Platinum partners include Q95 FM, NCCU, Fine Foods, and more. Other partners include TNO, Dr. TV and Dublin, Telnaji Sports, Variety News Group, Multi-Solution Teak, and more. The 2025 Dominican Music Awards, January 3, 2026, Intercontinental Hotel. It's officially white potato season in Dominica. To celebrate, Bloombox is giving you the chance to win a 196cc 4-stroke, 6.5 horsepower tiller valued at over $3,000. Wow! You heard right. Simply make a purchase of $75 or more between October 13th and December 27th, 2025, and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win this powerhouse machine to make your next planting season even easier. Winner will be announced on December 29th. Visit us at Bloombox Goodwill and Roseau. Terms and conditions apply. Let's bloom together with Bloombox. All you, I just meet Goldwyn in Roseau again. Same place outside Flossies. I tried to dock in, but you had time see me. Where? Story start again. Million, lot of my power with us, huh? Saga fella, I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossies, and you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I'm busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? About my pocket, boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. To pack a respect him, why? When I get him up here for Palais, I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Floss's, right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Floss's can't do you.
All right, Dominica, we're here. Somebody just said the blessings hit the nail on the head. The same thing the American man was saying this morning. The opposition needs to call on the United States for help while the Venezuelan issue is going on. What type of help are you talking about? Now, Joshua Francis is here, and the Prime Minister did say this morning, of course, he's sending a diplomatic note to Washington to get answers, if you will, or to make queries as to why this happened to Dominica. Do you have an understanding of why that may have happened, Joshua?
Well, first of all, let me take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Fontaine and his new executive. He has once again prevailed as the leader of one of the major political parties in Dominica, the United Progressive Party. And from the United Progressive Party, we wish him well. We ask that the good Lord continues to bless him, to give him the necessary wisdom and strength to lead a political organization, knowing that this is not an easy task. But with commitment and passion, which Dr. Fontaine has demonstrated by virtue of the fact that he could be elsewhere to pursue his professional life, he has chosen to stay here in Dominica to fight. And in spite of the battles that he has gone through, he continues to stand. So I'm looking forward to work with him. I'm looking forward to see eye to eye with him on certain mutual concerns and matters of national interest, especially at this hour. I believe that Dr. Fontaine has shown the propensity to work with others and to be part of a community of opposition force to go up against this cancer, this political cancer that is in Dominica. We need every political surgeon to come to perform that surgery to remove that cancer, which is growing. Matt, as we speak, there are 3 escalating matters in Dominica right now. The issue concerning the environment. This is a subject that should not go away. This is of greatest importance to Dominica, to pay attention to what the Dominica Labour Party has subjected our lands, our waters, our soils to. And then we have an escalation in a social rot that is taking place in Dominica. You're seeing gun violence on the scene. I think we have recorded 20 homicides for the year. We have doubled the number from 2024. And of course, now we are seeing an escalation in the state of the CBI program. So Dominicans really have to be alert, and Dominicans should come out to support the leaders in the opposition to get this government to understand that the time is up.
All right. So let's hit the issue at hand. I know, yes, we're concerned about the other issues as well. But what is current today as we speak?
Yes.
Is this issue with the United States and, the non-issuance of visas effective January 1?
That's a big
2026.
Yeah, Matt, this is a big issue. I've heard some of your callers. I did not have the privilege to listen to your program this morning, not entirety this afternoon, but a number of your callers have spoken intelligently on the matter. This is going to have serious social, political, and economic consequences for Dominica. So let's look at it from an economic point of view. As has been stated by Dr. Fontaine, who's supposed to know better as far as finance and economics is concerned, over 60% of the GDP. For those who don't understand, GDP means gross domestic product. That is the actual amount of money is collected by the government purse annually. So 60% of GDP, and it's alleged that over 50% of that fund is being paid to into salaries, public workers, expenses in public services, construction of physical facilities. The Prime Minister keeps boasting about the housing, about the smart clinics, to name a few. So imagine that significant amount of money that we would lose should the CBI program collapse. Now, obviously, Matt, with the American decision, with Donald Trump's decision to put Dominica on a blacklist as far as issuance of visas, which he listed, or which the Department of National Security in the United States listed, the rippling effect would mean that some persons are going to be denied to go to the United States, and it is going to make our passport less attractive, and that's a key point here. Remember, the buyers of our passports, some people don't like to say we are selling passports, but it's a reality. It's a fact. Citizenship are being sold, which I don't, and I did not support from day one. You're talking about the sale of our birthrights. So once the passport becomes less attractive, which basically is the situation right now, knowing that the buyers, going back to that point, Matt, the buyers purchase our citizenship for the purpose of going into the free world. Going into Europe and going to Canada and going to the US. Now, with that situation with the US, it means that the passports, Dominica's passport, is going to be less attractive, and therefore buyers are likely to go to St. Kitts and other markets within the Eastern Caribbean or in the Far East. So that is a major concern to Dominica, because once the passport or citizenship becomes less attractive, it means that the government is going to collect less revenue, and therefore the public sector is going to be affected. The private sector is going to be affected, because with less money circulating in the economy, it means that we will have a contraction. Dominica's economy is already limping, it's already stagnant. And with that news in respect to the visa situation in the US can only give it a further blow.
Government under your watch, Joshua, would you, like I just asked Thompson Fountain just a while ago, just before you came, would you encourage CBI? You said that just 2 minutes before, that's not what you would have encouraged before.
No.
But you would have a choice, because CBI is, as you said, bringing most of the money into the economy.
Yes.
What would you do?
Well, first of all, I would set up a commission of inquiry. I think the CBI program is more than just money. I think that certain offenses have been committed against the people of Dominica. We have heard of financial crimes being committed. Now, we do not have the evidence, but we suspect, or we have reasonable and probable cause to believe that this government has dabbled with illegalities in respect to the CBI program.
You're making some allegations as to corruption?
Yeah, corruption. Basically, I'm happy you bring in a common term, a term that an ordinary person can understand. We have noticed from the surface of it, there appears to be corruption in the program. So I would set up a commission of inquiry to really investigate the CBI program. And the investigation basically would be to ascertain who, if any, are the corruptors, the people who dabbled with corruption, the persons who channeled illegality, and also to see who are the persons vetting these applicants, because there are a number of international vetting entities, and I'm not sure exactly which this government is using. Also to investigate whether passports were being issued without the vetting process in the first instance, because it's not every applicant who would necessarily go through the vetting process. Now, imagine a man with dirty hands seeking a passport from Dominica. It's easy for him to tell an agent, sir, I do not want to go through the vetting process, because should I go through the vetting process, I'll be disqualified to obtain your passport, but I'm willing to give you an additional $500,000. Can you help me out? Now, that agent can simply call certain persons in certain parts of Dominica and say, hey, look, I have this client. He's giving me 500,000 US extra. Help me out. You get a 50. And that's how the country has been going. You have players
no
and
doubt
actors.
about that.
I know what I'm talking about, Matt. I won't call names, but I know what I'm talking about. This regime is very corrupt. The head, the heart, and the soul of the political organ representing our people here is very rotten. And that is why I keep calling on Dominicans. Let us remove that rot, because it comes down to the people.
You're not holding back because of the information you have.
I have a lot of information. I cannot reveal certain information on the radio for several reasons, but I'm aware of certain illegalities that have been commissioned within the CBI program. Hence the reason why we need a commission of inquiry to study what would have gone on. Now, Matt, obviously, this government is not going to set up such a commission because the guilty one is not going to
The
bring
players.
Yeah, you're not going to incriminate yourself. But I can put those guys on notice. Once Dominicans decide to dump this Dominican Labour Party government in Labas, a commission of inquiry will be set up. Hence, the reason why those players and actors must start reflecting right now, because it's going to combat. The time is near. The prime minister will not make it to 7 terms. His 6th term is about to end, and the new government, which I'm hoping to be part of, will set up that necessary commission of inquiry to really study where we have gone wrong. Now, the question is, the reality is upon our doorstep. America has taken that decision. Then what? What we're likely to see? A drop in sales or citizenship, less revenues. Now, what should we do? Now, your question about what I would do should I become the prime minister, just to extend further, I do support Thompson's notion that over a period of time, this program has to be phased out. Because why? Number one, for every passport that we sell, every citizenship that we sell, that is a new citizen that we are creating, which means that person has equal rights to every other Dominican. That person is subject to the Constitution of Dominica, and that person has a right to enjoy the peace and the values that Dominica comes with it. Now, sadly, those applicants have been getting our passports even without coming to our country. They don't appreciate the culture. I mean, just look at the Chinese as an example. They're here, they really mingle with us. Can you imagine, out of over 60,000 applicants what we have had, over 60,000 citizens, economic citizens, if something happens in the world and they have to come here to seek
Refuge.
as refuge, as a fortress, then imagine how it's going to be for us. We now become third-class citizens in certain parts of Dominica. We're seeing what is happening in Wesley. We're seeing what's happening in Roseau. Matt, for every clear area in Roseau right now, when you make a shout to find out who is the purchaser of that property, it's a Chinese. As time is going, Dominicans are losing Dominica. So for every ship that is sold, that's a piece of Dominica we are giving away. Oh, that's our birthright that we are selling. Now, the social impact is that if we're not careful, eventually we'll have more economic citizens and native Dominicans or native citizens. So for that reason alone, I do not support that program. So over time, I do support Dr. Fongdin as far as the phasing out process. Of course, to phase it out, you would have to light up certain other areas of the economy. So which are the areas that we need to light up? One, agriculture. We need to get involved in agro-processing. We need to put back our rural places back to work. Our rural places have been dying. Look at Cassibus. Cassibus is a shadow of itself. You understand? Look at Grand Bay. On Saturday mornings, you would get, all 15, 20 vendors from Grand Bay in the market. Now we just have about 4 or 5. Certain places like Cassibus, people who are coming down from Cassibus to vend in the market. Where are they? No, you probably just get 1 or 2, selling jellies by the roadside. There are several other rural places in Dominica that have gone through a death. So the economic death, that is. So one of the policies that I would enact as a prime minister definitely is to do a study for rural areas to resuscitate the rural economy, because right now what we have is just a shadow of its former self. Number 2, we have to export. We have to sell. This country has become an import country. This government has basically been very lazy, just selling passports and using the revenue in a very wasteful way.
Imbalance of trade there.
Significantly, that's an understatement. I mean, what are we producing? It's really a shame that we go to supermarkets now to buy carrots and cabbage from overseas. That is an indictment on this government. This government has caused our people to become dependent and in some areas lazy. And we in a new administration would not tolerate such a thing. So we need to inject more capital into agriculture, more capital into entrepreneurship, more capital into small businesses. We would also need to retain our labor force, because what is happening, because of low salaries and bad and poor economic conditions here in Dominica, we have had our brain leaving the shores. So we have to find a way to retain what we have and to attract those who have left us to come back. So in other words, we would build what is called an intellectual capital bank and a diaspora bank, where we get our professionals throughout the whole world to come together to design policies which should be used for the betterment of Dominica. And of course, Matt, we have to spend more money in education, in health. Some people coming from England, as an example, when they get here, they build and eventually they leave out of fear. We have to put Dominica in a place where we feel comfortable, where we can make money, where we feel safe. Very, very importantly, man.
Let's take. I'm reading the Observer newspaper in Jamaica there, and the headline says this is a Canada News correspondent speaking to the story of the Prime Minister. It says Dominica's Prime Minister believes miscommunication caused the U.S. visa problems for Dominica. So he's basically blaming it on miscommunication. Do you think that's the issue? Why the Americans?
No, Matt. If you read the proclamation, it is clear why that decision was taken. Vetting process.
But Dominica just passed legislation in October.
Yeah, but the legislation is different from the actualization of the program, because you can have a lot of things on paper like we do. We have laws on paper, but we break them. So the Americans would have acted on intelligence. I don't think Donald Trump's administration woke up one morning and decided to put Dominica on the list. The fact is, this country has been warned for over a year now. The UK took a decision on the very same point, the vetting process. They feel like Dominica is not adhering to international vetting standards. They must have, caught one or two guys with passports that had dirty hands, the shady guys. Now, wealthy shady guys would pay any amount of money to get the privileges and benefits of being able to travel in the free world.
Mm-hmm.
So although we were warned, but the actual practice, certain agents may have done nastiness. And that nastiness now has caused innocent Dominicans to pay a price.
Let's take a few phone calls. Are you there, caller? Yes. We want to be interactive. Are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon, Thompson and Josh.
Joshua, yeah.
Good afternoon.
I think one of the first things I really would like us to really address in this program is an economic citizenship program. And we have to do like them kids. We have to remove patriotic rights from that program. You understand? We have to preserve ourselves, our nativity, and our independence politically. We have to be very careful. We have to take away voting rights from economic citizens. It's one of the fundamental things we have to ensure that we do. I think it's very critical. It's a mistake. And St. Kitts is pretty wise to not have followed that pattern. And I hope that Dominica, we can do that right away. You understand? I think it's very important. Also, put the stuff in, let these international countries, vet citizens. Put the vetting process in their hands. Let them take responsibility for the vetting. They can't come blame us for anything that happens afterwards. You understand? So there's a few fundamental things I think we can do. And I like the idea of phasing out that program. But patriotic rights, we have to set an agenda in Dominica that protects us as Dominicans. This government, the worst thing this government has done, it has not protected Dominicans. And any new government, that has to be top priority in terms of legislations and laws that we're going to pass. God bless.
God bless you too. Again, 449-3095. You want to, of course, pose a question to Mr. Joshua Francis, like I'm suspecting many other people will do. Feel free to call 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, or 616-4257. You brought up the issue earlier, Joshua, in terms of it appears that you're willing to work with Dr. Thompson Fontaine going forward in terms of you in a united force.
Yeah, of course, Matt. I would like to work with Dr. Thompson Fontaine for several reasons. Number one, we share a common thread. Both of us came from humble beginnings. And when we were in high school or even in primary school, not many people in the world would have betted on us that we would become professionals. Dr. Fontaine came from what we consider to be an income poor family, and he has done very well for himself. And it's just sad we live in a community where people demonize leaders and demonize persons who were supposed to be role models. Dr. Fontaine is not a perfect person, neither Joshua Francis, but I believe that the nation has not shown enough appreciation for Dr. Thompson Fontaine. This is a man who came from very humble beginnings in Grand Forks, and he has become a doctor of economics. He has served on international tribunals. He has served governments internationally. He has worked for the IMF, just to mention a few. And instead of focusing on the positives and telling our younger children, look, I want you to achieve a doctorate one day. Look, Thompson did it without a scholarship. He did it without government patronage. You can do it too. So knowing who I am and where I come from, that alone connects me with Dr. Fontaine. Secondly, Dr. Fontaine is a very intelligent person. Unlike many leaders in this Dominican Labour Party government. This man is well qualified, well spoken. He knows his economics. I'm not too sure whether you're aware, man, but he taught me economics at the C4 call, as
He
it
taught me
were.
principles of business.
Right. So here you go. And then the philosophies of the United Progressive Party, some of the philosophies are consistent with some of the philosophies in the United Workers' Party. So knowing that we share common philosophies and ideologies.
United
and-
Workers' Party or United Progressive
No,
Party?
in the United Progressive
Okay.
Party has certain values that are consistent with
Okay.
ours in the United Progressive Party.
Okay.
And above all, we have a common objective. And if we are going to face the beast, we might as well hold hands and fight as a unified army.
On the telephone, sorry about that. We missed that call there. 449-3095-96 and 97. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Yeah, good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to you, Joshua.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon.
Now, in that united force, I have an idea, especially with what's going on now. PA systems from you, from your party, and from Thompson's party, and start to hit the road to mobilize people, because all these great programs that have been on the radio here, there are areas that the station is not reaching. And my idea is to hit the road running with PA systems and to mobilize people, because this thing needs a serious intervention. And the intervention is thousands of people mobilized on the ground to really shake out what we have there. What we have there going for us is no good. What is going on in Dominica right now, it needs a real serious force. And I figure out to have the people, to get the people to rally, PA systems need to be on the ground, like almost like this week, this weekend, by next week, these things need to be happening, because what? You can't afford to have that thing go on and you're hearing about communication that go out to the U.S. government when we know is the opposite. These people know exactly what they have done, but they, in their head, they have done no wrong. So we have to make that thing stick and deal with it for what it is. Rally the people, put PA systems on the ground, let's go out to the countryside and mobilize people around Dominica to get rid of that nonsense that's going on. That's my contribution.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Let's yes.
That was a good contribution.
Now let's listen to. Are you willing to follow this instruction?
Yeah, it's something to consider.
All right, let's listen.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good
This
afternoon.
is my message to the PM. PM, the wife them, you know. Sit down. It's Christmas time. Eat your ham. Eat your turkey. If you want, go at Continental and get you a nice glass of champagne. You and your family sit down and enjoy your Christmas. When you feel, if you see too much, they're talking about that US thing too much, just put something there for them so they can forget about it, like as usual. Just give them something. Give them a little $20 in a red package. Just start sending it around and they'll forget. Don't worry of them. Don't let them stress you out. You know, PM, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your New Year's. Don't let nobody stress you out. That is their problem. They are the ones who keep electing you. So enjoy. Eat your cake, your fruit cake. If you don't eat fruit cake, eat your ham, eat your turkey, and don't let those people stress you up. Tell them go to other Caribbean countries. We don't need diaspora money anyways. All right, right, PM? So leave them people in their mess. They'll be all right. When you send the diplomatic letter to the U.S. government, I guess it will work. It probably working. So when it finally reached there, then you know everything with Dominicans wouldn't care about that again. Just like they didn't care about the London, the British, ban and all that. We fine. We'll go to other Caribbean countries. Dominica, nice. PM, have a great Christmas. Eat your cake. Drink your wine, eat your ham, do your hot chocolate, and leave those people in their mess. Don't have them. They'll be all right.
All right, caller. I know this is a very. All right, Joshua. I mean, visas shut down both to the United Kingdom and America. This is a serious message here.
Yeah, this is very, very serious, and it's not going to get any better. I think we also need to pay attention to what's happening with the United States and Venezuela, because should this matter escalate, there are ramifications for Dominica. So I would suggest to Dominicans to start tying their waist, because.
But the Prime Minister said he wanted to be a mediator.
Well, that's ludicrous. The Prime Minister is of not of enough substance to mediate a matter of such high caliber. I don't think he has that. He has it. Not even me has it just yet. Not that I want to bring down myself, but I'm just saying that when the Prime Minister made the statement, it was just a loose statement. I don't think Putin and Maduro would necessarily want Mr. Skerrit Roosevelt to be a mediator in their issues right now. But what I'm saying, Matt, we have to pay attention to that because there are ramifications, and Dominicans have to start paying more attention. The people who are sleeping, they need to wake up. And those who have the light and saw the light, they need to enlighten others. As I've always say on this radio station, people are calling on the leaders to do X, Y, and Z. But everybody is a leader in himself or herself, and you have to play your role. Take note of those who are in slumber and wake them up, show them what is happening in Dominica, and that the numbers will increase because politics, especially in our system, is a numbers thing. So if we have 5 people crying against the regime, we need to double it and triple it within the next few months.
Is protest action a way to go?
That's one of the items to consider because we can protest in several different ways. But ultimately, we have to win the majority of the hearts and minds of Dominicans to remove this evil regime.
I don't think you are able to understand. Are you able to convince?
Matt, any constituency can change. We saw it in St. Vincent. It happened here in Dominica. It happened in Roseau South in 2014. So this thing about the Labour Party has safe seats. Now, based on the pattern, one can argue that the Labour Party is secure in places like Grand Bay, Petit Savan, Cottage, Vickers, Collyho, and the Calibishi constituency. Based on the pattern.
But Collyho was safe on the freedom for some time.
Yeah, but exactly. I was about to say, no city is safe now. And we need to start speaking that language. We need to stop saying that the Labour Party has a safe seat. They have no safe seat. There is no such thing as safe seat until polling day. We have to take responsibility and accountability to win people in Grand Bay, Portsmouth, in Vickers, everywhere. And it is possible because people are different from rocks. Rocks do not have brains and hearts. Trees do not have a brain, not that we know of. They have life. The fact is, human beings can change. Some people are in the trenches of the Dominican Labour Party. We can go down into the trench and to convince them that it is in their interest to support the opposition.
On the telephone.
Good afternoon, Master Sergey.
Good afternoon to you, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm good, and good afternoon to Mr. Joshua Francis.
Good afternoon, sir. That's
studio with you, Isaac Baptiste. Matt, I heard political leaders in Edwards Party by party the CBI program and the situation we face with the U.S. Embassy. I endorse this approach, which with respect to the CBI program, it has to be a gradual phase the proof out of that program after the economy is strong enough. But we're trying to talk about phasing it out immediately. It's not an option. That would be crisis in Dominica. I also heard of what Joshua is saying, his approach, which basically endorses what Dr. Thompson Fontaine says. But Matt, I would like to put a further spin on what we are discussing here. If not, I'm not going out. Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Lucia, Grenada, and soon St. Vincent and Dominica all run CBI programs. One of the most corrupt programs we had in the Caribbean is CBI, and they have been in it longer than Dominica, is that of St. Kitts and Nevis. The question is, why is it that Antigua and Dominica have been chosen to have this visa ban placed on them, at least not temporary, but limited ban placed on Dominica and Antigua, and not St. Kitts, and not even St. Lucia or Grenada? The regulations that are now applicable to the CBI program is common to all these islands, but only Dominica and Antigua have been punished in that way. I am prepared to put forward that the situation is also beyond CBI only. I believe the activities of the Chinese government in Dominica and in Antigua relative to the potential threat it poses to the United States in its backyard is also a major factor in what we are facing right now. It is part of it, I believe. I believe the Americans believe what's happening in Wesley is more than just an international effort to meet the
understand the needs of Dominica, both in the long term and in the immediate term and the short term. And they are concerned about it. I believe the embassies, the size of the embassies in Dominica and Antigua is of concern to the Americans, and they are concerned about it. And they must have spoken to both governments regarding that, these issues and the activities of the Chinese government in these two islands. And therefore, they have done nothing much about it. So in addition to the CBI program, they have concern, but they're using it as a fifth. But I believe that it's more geopolitical as to the punishment that these two islands, the citizens of these two islands are being faced. This is my view. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too. Again, the numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. A lot of geopolitics taking place at this time, and we have to monitor.
Dominicans, enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your property. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till you flood again, can't wait till your roof fly out and all your business coming out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season and insure with a company who gives you the assurance. Wait, mama, wait up. To the director of the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, man. I say, why bother with Hollywood actors when the real pirates and them, they're right there. Just look in the Caribbean, man cast our politicians. Well, it's strictly Grammy winners on your hands. Yeah, man. They acting very well. Will make your move sell. The perfect ball.
The Pirates of the Caribbean, huh? The great Buple.
They defy every day what the Bible say, that crime can never fail.
Joshua, somebody suggesting to you that during the next election, you need to mobilize coastal buses from the Kalinago territory up to Mount Daniel to see the clean water and proper mansion housing without no roof leakage and lead water because they are in the bubble. I ask him what he thinks about, this water being contaminated in the Dewash area as compared to what the Prime Minister is drinking right now.
Well, Matt, I'm happy that it's not a caller, but the person who sent you the message, that messenger raised that issue because that is an area I would like to address with Dominicans, the water supply in Dominica. Because, Matt, there are a lot of hidden knowledge out there. For example, every one of us now are awaiting the exploration of geothermal energy.
Mm-hmm.
The supply of geothermal energy, we have gone beyond the exploration stage.
The commissioning.
Right, the commissioning. But, Matt, are you aware that there are several risks involved? Mm-hmm. One of which is the poisoning of our waters. And hopefully on one of your programs, we'll have that discussion. Another thing is that we are tampering with protected areas, removing trees. We're affecting our water catchment areas. Now, once you can go into a water catchment area to deforest, it means that the water volume is going to drop. And when it declines, water supply is going to decline. As we speak, the Kalinago territory, as an example, has been experiencing a lot of water shortages. The question is why? And in addition to that, a lot of Kalinagos are not able to even pay DOASCO. And as such, their lines are being disconnected. That's something I want to explore.
As we speak?
As we speak. So there are several issues affecting the Kalinago people as we speak. And my understanding is that once the Prime Minister heard that there is a possibility that I'll be contesting the Kalinago territory seat, he has been spending time in the Kalinago territory to the point where it's alleged that he and his agents were giving monies away. They were giving $100, in some cases $200 away. In addition to that, he also, that's his Prime Minister, has contracted a few builders to fix houses in the Kalinago territory. Now, if you go back into recollection, in 2019, the Roseau South constituency afforded the largest budget by the Dominican Labour Party. It wasn't Roseau Central. Most of the Labour money was concentrated in Roseau South because they knew that they were going up against a formidable person. And I have not even said, I have not told the world where I'm contesting, but the Prime Minister has already taken the leap to be going to the Kalinago territory instead of fixing the water situation, instead of providing job opportunities for the young Kalinagos, instead of encouraging our Kalinago graduates from abroad to come back to serve and to build their families. He is there once again trying to bribe the Kalinago people without even election in the air.
Does that intimidate you?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, the Prime Minister can move from Vegas to come down to the Kalinago territory if he so desires, if that's where I choose to run. If I choose to run in Roseau, so he can come there too. Wherever he comes, there's a strong possibility that he'll be defeated. Because by the time
you're that confident.
I'm that confident because by the time the next general election will be called, the Prime Minister will be fried in his own oil. And that's what's happening with this Dominican Labour Party government. All sins do not go unpunished. No sin whatsoever goes unpunished. And I don't have to go out there and work that hard to see that government goes. As I say, the chicken is coming home
to
roast. So sins do not go unpunished. The Prime Minister's action will be his own judge. This government, this Dominican Labour Party government, will be judged by their own actions and inactions. So
and you think that's what's happening now?
I know that's what's happening now. And Dominicans will see more things to bring this government into disgrace. The serpent is coming down the pole. And nothing will stop it. Nothing, no amount of money that he spends in the Kalinago territory or any part of Dominica will stop that reality that the serpent is coming along the pole. Whatever sorcery that they have employed in to keep Dominicans in the place of darkness, it is coming to an end. More light is shining. As the light shines, as Bob Marley says, behind the darkness is the light. So we have had this darkness in Dominica, this veil, for 25 years ongoing. This Prime Minister for 23 years plus. The time is at hand. Reckoning period. People are seeing the light. And as more and more people see the light, is more and more this government falls. I have no doubt it's going to happen, Matt. This Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt's carrot, will not go beyond 6 terms.
All right. Are you there, caller? Oh, that's a confident Joshua Francis. The hell talk to me, yes?
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Matt Butch in the air. Matt, you know that there's a number of countries in the world that have been sanctioned. And when the sanction comes to any country, it does not come in the full force. It first comes in a few items, and then you hear more items. And then the countries that can survive, just bust the sanction and keep surviving. Matt, I can tell you, see, Dominica not going to go down. So tell President Trump, it have more sanction to come. Doesn't matter what you hear man saying, it have more. You will hear more as the investigation continue to go on in the misappropriation of funds. You will hear more sanction. And when they finish with sanction, they come down and they bust the country. So just take it easy and we'll see what happening. Dominicans, brace.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Somebody's asking the question, Joshua Francis. Please ask Joshua, after the statement, the focusing is removing this administration by the ballot. Question, how confident are you in the electoral process? And what about the many voters who depend on their birth certificate but will not be registered to vote? What's your...
Well, I can only speak for me and my party.
Okay.
If you go on our website, www.uppdominica.com, you will see that the first thing that pops up in your eyes is go out to confirm to vote. And once the registration process resumes, go out to vote. So in our party, we are pushing the agenda of confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
There are hurdles, but we're assisting persons to move past the hurdle. Now, the hurdle is that some people are not able to get a valid ID, whether it's a social security card, a passport, or a driver's license. Every Dominican can get a passport, but for some reason, Social Security has been posing problems. And I intend to have a contingent from my party to speak with Social Security on the matter, because I don't understand why a man is 30 years old and he cannot get a Social Security card. And there's some people who had a Social Security card and now they're going back to Social Security to ask for a renewal. And they're being told, well, sir, you got the card as being self-employed. You now owe Social Security $35,000. And if you can't pay this, you can't get a new card. This is a matter that needs to be addressed, because in most countries, people are entitled to a Social Security card. Here in Dominica, you get a card by showing that you're either self-employed or employed with somebody or a company. And that has created a roadblock for some of the persons seeking an ID to register or to confirm, or to confirm to vote. So that is a matter that is being addressed, definitely. But I'm very confident that the people will be inspired to go out to get confirmed and to get this government out.
Are you the caller? Yes.
Yes, I'm there, man.
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And big good afternoon to Joshua. Joshua,
Yes, sir.
good afternoon to you, my brother. Thank you for being so openly and for what you do. Because I always like to give thanks for people who contribute to the movement to liberate the country and the people. And you are one of them folks, so I must say big ups to you. Matt, I want to say something at the issue at hand that you were dealing with, what Dominica is facing now. Matt, how many years have you been talking to Rizal?
Many years.
Thank you. I'm not going to go into how many, 5, 10, many years, okay? Rizal been saying what he has been saying, and a lot of people doubt him. The naysayers and the supporters and enablers of the government. Mr. Baptist just called a while ago, man. And he just made a statement to open the scope, because a lot of times when we listen to things, and the way we are in Dominica especially, our people only look at things through a narrow lens. We don't look at the big picture, man. Mr. Baptist just made an extension on the issue, the geopolitics, man. The geopolitics, meaning i.e. China, the people who Dominica so-called leadership has affiliated themselves with. But you have two elephants fighting, right? And you know what they say when elephants fight? The grass gets trampled. So you had a guy open his big mouth, he want to negotiate between Maduro and Mr. Trump, the United States. But the worst thing you could have done is that. If you all wanted to negotiate something, you go as a CARICOM nation, as a unit. They would have more power and they would see less of your agenda, man. Because what's taking place now, he just opened his mouth and he showed what side he is, and they already know. Let me say something about the global apparatus, man. When you see America and places like them, European countries strike, they already have information on you more than you know you got. But you think you're so slick because you could fool a few people on the island at 60, 70,000, and you run and you lie to them and you scheme and you green and you have them by the balls and they're yeah, and then a few of them you get a few dollars on the side, like the lady make a joke about, give them little money. But where Dominica is today in its geopolitics is its death knell. And what Joshua said earlier on and what Thompson said earlier on will be the only saving grace. Now you must come and humble yourself to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is not Joe Biden. Okay? Let's keep that in mind. The United States changes government ever so often, and certain time you get certain government, i.e., when Ronald Reagan was in there and he invaded Grenada, before it never happened before. So what we're talking about is not something that's as simple as what people hear. You know, the issue that we're dealing with, Matt, is all these years, Skerritt's been warned. They've been telling him, but he has never done the work that he's supposed to. And now the people suffering because there's lack of participation in the government and their own security. They leave it alone for scared because you have people calling you, telling you how he's smart, he's doing this, he's doing that, and progress and all kind of nonsense. A bunch of smoke and mirrors. Now it's time the rubber hit the road and he don't know what to do because he has lied. He never take care of the people's business. He took care of him and his friends, his foreign friends, the Chinese companies and all this thing. All what you're seeing is been the selling of Dominica to foreign interests. Joshua just tell you that. Thompson tell you that. So where we are now, Matt, it's no surprise. I'm not surprised. Last night I sent you an article. I don't know if I sent it to you. A few people with Dominican passport were put out of Norway. They wouldn't let them in because of the passport, the way they get it. It all has to do with the vetting. It all has to do with the process because they said they're not going to give anybody entry with a Dominica passport because the way they get it, not a Dominica passport, but a CBI. The way they get it, they did not step foot in the country. Most countries, when you get a citizenship, you move to the country, you stay there a certain length of time, you show your character and whatnot and this, that, and the other, you go through the process like that. A man don't get on a plane from Dominica and go to Dubai and sell your passport. Go to over there, Malaysia and get a gold bullion and you give a man a passport and let him stay in your country for 6 months, talking the world police. He have a red notice on him, but he's hiding in the country. Matt, all these things are out in the open, Matt. It's not no news to me. I don't know, for some people they are surprised. But all this, they have the information, Matt. I'm listening, my brother. Just what take it and go.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back, of course, to wrap it up here.
Exciting news from AutoTrade. Incredible savings are here. Take advantage of AutoTrade's Thrifty Thursday promotion. Mark your calendars. On the last Thursday of each month, AutoTrade is offering up to 20% off items throughout the store. Yes, 20% off. But wait, there's more. Keep your eyes peeled for our exclusive Deal of the Day offer, bringing you even bigger discounts on select items. Whether you're looking for car accessories, maintenance essentials, or just browsing for a great deal, we've got you covered. So be sure to swing by AutoTrade every last Thursday. At AutoTrade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about how we can help the vulnerable members of society, our children, the elderly, and differently abled? Are you interested in small business, education, job creation, and the environment? Then it sounds like you're ready. You're ready for Let's Talk Progress, a new uplifting show on Q95 every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. hosted by United Progressive Party. Together for progress.
Today I'll never give up before. Not in my blood.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
And it's getting news of the total blockage in Venezuela this time. It means the entire U.S. military fleet is in the Caribbean waters. Why are our Caribbean people, our Caribbean leaders remaining so silent on the issue there? We talk of the zone of peace. We have to talk about the repercussions and implications for Caribbean people.
If your hands are anointed, if your feet are anointed.
Joshua, the next few months will be very interesting time in Dominica. Are you ready as the song?
Matt, I was born ready. I was born ready, my brother. I am ready.
So what's going to happen to the UPP? You guys are looking for candidates at this time?
Matt, everything is happening organically. People are actually calling us. Yesterday, I had a young man who asked me whether he could be the candidate for a particular constituency. And today I had another young man asking me whether he could be the candidate for another constituency. So the party is attracting people. The party is a very exciting, attractive party. It's a party of inclusion. It's a platform that's open to every Dominican. We are building a community which has love and strength to fight the Dominican Labour Party government at the polls next time around.
We've been hearing a long time ago, there seems to be a little resistance between that, but now we're hearing that there's new leadership within the United Workers' Party. Are you willing to work with this party?
Well, I've said that a zillion times. I don't need to say it anymore. I mean, that idea has been plastered all over the walls in Dominica, that UPP is a party of inclusion, it's a party of love, it's a party which is focused, it's a party which is standing on a very clean platform, no confusion. Our objective is to add value to the removal of this Dominican Labour Party government. And therefore, any entity, any person, any political party that has that objective and is sincere and genuine to act for and on behalf of the Dominican people, we are prepared to work with that party.
So you're willing to work with the team with the United Workers' Party?
We're willing to work with the team when the time...
Well, what is the strategy going
Well,
forward?
that's the thing. We cannot discuss strategy here. What I can say is that there will come a time when we have to speak and to formulate terms and references on how we're going to get this done. And that may not take much, because our party, the United Progressive Party, I can speak for it. The party really stands on pillars of righteousness. It stands on pillars of truth, of honesty, of conviction, of passion for the people of Dominica. I personally am in this not for Joshua Francis. It is for the people of Dominica, particularly common people, ordinary people, barefoot people. Because when all is said and done, Matt, it's really not fair that somebody is in his 50s, 60s, and he does not even have $5,000 in the bank. That cannot be right. So unless we remove this government, our 20-year-olds will turn into 40-year-olds and 60-year-olds, and they will not have a savings. They will not have an investment. They will not have a retirement plan. They will not have a policy at any insurance company. So to make things better, we must remove this government. And therefore, for UPP, we are standing on pillars of unity. We believe in that. Our mantra is we are better together. Our philosophy is progress together for progress, together for development.
Young people has always been a problem in terms of, the young people, attracting the young people. Do you have a strategy going forward?
Well, again, as I said, we're not into any ism and schism. We are growing organically. We are not like sitting down in a war room and trying to figure out how we're going to convince somebody by deception. Anybody who wants to join UPP ought not to even volunteer or suggest anything that is wrong, that is associated with darkness, that is associated with trickery. There's no need for that. When you see UPP members, these are the real people you're seeing. We're not fakes. And our policies and philosophies are based on the light, on openness, on transparency, on accountability. You understand, Matt? So thus far, we have done very well. The party's membership is on the rise. People go on our website, www.uppdominica.com, and they register as members. So our membership is rising. People have given commitments to donate. We have had persons who donate even without asking. Again, our page has a donation page on it. So you can go out there if you feel that you want to contribute to the United Progressive Party. You're invited to make your contribution.
But the young, again, Joshua, I want to go back to the point where the young people, the Labour Party seem to have been, the party that they have been attracted to for the past 20. That's the only party they have known. How are you going to remove that magnet from the young people towards the Labour Party?
Well, Matt, as I said, it will happen organically. You want me to give specific information. In the United Progressive Party, we have quite a number of young people. And contrary to what a lot of Dominicans may feel, that young people are intoxicated by the nasty music, by foreign artists, and once the Dominican Labour Party comes and give them a rum and play that music, they will follow the Dominican Labour Party. Contrary to that idea, Matt, there are a lot of young people in Dominica who do not want to see Labour Party. They want to change. But if there's an activity on the bayfront where they can get a free drink or they can enjoy themselves, they will go. But do not think that the young people are not seeing what's happening. They are. I speak with them, Matt. I meet young people every day. I meet them at work. I meet them on the block. I meet them at church. I meet them on the streets. And a lot of them are saying they want to change. They want out. They want their dreams to be realized.
Let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller? Yeah, sorry about that. Caller, are you there? Let's try another call. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, afternoon again. Yes, Josh just made a couple of points about one that just catch me about is about persons reaching 50s and 60s and not having maybe $5,000 in the bank. And this is a reality that I'm seeing, and it is people need to do something. We need to do something about it. I mean, the plan Josh has is a good plan, but I want to say, I know people that actually invest throughout maybe 30 years. And today, I speaking to a particular family that's telling me that they're actually paying less. You know, it is to invest and have $1 million assets and stuff that you put down, but then you're paying less, you're making no money, and that's in the Portsmouth area. And people need to understand that these things are real. And honestly, now you have another sort of people that have saved up their money. And they're not in their 50s and their 60s yet, but the little money that they have put aside in 30, 40 years, they actually have to be depleting that to survive now. So from day to day, from time to time, you'll see them going to these institutions and just pulling out money. So the money that you save up for rainy days and for other things, that you didn't realize that that's what we have there would come. That kind of demise would have hit us, that economic demise. And then the people have to turn now, when they want estimate where they have things to do, they have to go and deplete their savings to survive. And that cannot be right. And what Josh is saying there is already a reality. So he's speaking from experience. There are people that are of that age and doesn't have a savings. And so, I mean, yesterday, Matt, I mentioned to you that if we continue like that, working people, civil servants, we're going to consider us maltratted. Didn't I say that yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah. And look, Josh is explaining exactly that in another way. Because that is the reality that we face with the malgovernance that we have now. I just wanted to interject that. Have a good day.
If your hands are anointed, if your feet are anointed, and if you're under the blood, give me a Holy Ghost shout. If your hands are anointed, if your feet are anointed, if you're under the blood, give me a Holy Ghost shout. Say, if your hands are anointed, if your feet are anointed, and if you're under the blood, under the blood, oh, I am anointed. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? You want back your song? You want back your thinking? You want back your song? Say, if your hands are anointed, if your feet are anointed, and if you're under the blood, give me a Holy Ghost shout. If your hands are anointed, if your feet are anointed, and if you're under the blood, say, I am anointed. To put the enemy under my feet, I am anointed. Moving forward, no more defeat. I'm breaking war on the enemy, taking back what was stolen from me. I am anointed and appointed. I'm a mighty warrior in God's army. Say, I am anointed. To put the enemy under my feet. I am anointed. Moving forward, no more defeat. I'm waging war on the enemy, taking back what.
Let's wrap it up there in the afternoon with Mr. Joshua Francis.
I'm a mighty warrior. Here we go.
Let's take a phone call and we'll wrap it up here this afternoon there on the Talk on the Block. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Yes, Matt, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, my brother. How are you doing?
And to your listeners and to Mr. Francis.
Yes.
Good
Matt, I heard
afternoon.
Mr. Francis say that there are people who do not have how many $1,000 saved. Matt, over the 25 years Labour Party has in, Matt, people could not save $27.30 or 40 cents to get $10,000 a year. Because if you can save that every day, you'll be able to save $10,000 a year. But people could not save because all that is the only people who are saving money is the people who are selling passports alone. They are the only ones who say I'm saving money. The or younger people and people renting and don't care save that kind of money. Good afternoon, Mr. Francis.
Good afternoon to you. And you, of course, you understand.
Yeah, well, Matt, that's the reality. There are a lot of Dominicans who are struggling financially. As I've said before, some of us have nice cars and we have built good houses, but we do not have cash. So there are a lot of income poor people in Dominica. We have a lot of underemployed people, and we have a very large population of the working poor, as we define them in economics. We have employable people. They're out there looking for a job, can't find a job, have to settle for something lesser to what they're capable of doing. So you have the working poor, you have the underemployed, and you have the unemployed. That combination has created a Dominica with a lack of cash. We do not have much money going into circulation. It is evident by just looking at the activities in Roseau. Christmas is just around the corner and you don't feel it, you don't see it. In the past, weeks before Christmas Day, you would see the bubbling, you would feel the vibes, you would feel it, people would be spending, but you can't spend what you don't have. And things will not get better under this administration. Generally, I'm known to be an optimist, but I cannot speak positive about what I know. This government will run into financial problems as well, because we are basically building government control as opposed to be making room for the private sector to grow and to be buoyant, so that jobs will be created, exports will happen, and all of us will be in a better place. But enough of the analysis of the Dominican Labour Party government. I want to take this opportunity to invite every Dominican to join the United Progressive Party. You can go online, look for www.uppdominica.com. You are invited to experience the journey with the United Progressive Party. In whatever capacity you can serve, you will become a stakeholder, you'll become a shareholder, you'll become an owner, a beneficial owner of the United Progressive Party. It is not Joshua's party, it is not Loftus Dura party, it is not Mr. Chief Charles from the Kalinago Territory Party. It is your party, it's the People's Party, and you're invited to join us to grow strength by strength to eventually be able to remove this political cancer in Dominica, this evil government, this dark government, this corrupt government, this rot that has been the custodian of our resources. You've seen what they're doing with our natural environment. You're seeing what they're doing with our financial resources. You're seeing what they're doing with our human resources. We have so many reasons to remove this government.
And final question. Yes. Do you expect after this diplomatic note that went out this morning from the Prime Minister any changes?
No changes. It's too late now. The damage has been done and there isn't going to be any change. If anything, the Prime Minister will be coming back very despondent and once again try to spin things around and play team. And it's very sad. It's time that this government take responsibility and accountability for its negligence of the people, negligence and recklessness and mismanagement of the CBI program, just as there's mismanagement of our natural resources. Any government that can mismanage its environment is a government that has to go, and Dominican Labour Party should go. And I hope, Matt, you continue to provide the facility for Dominicans to vent in respect to the management and mismanagement of our natural resources, the deforestation, the sedimentation of our rivers, the destruction of our marine environment in the Cabrits area. We have to talk about that. The activity in Loda in respect to geothermal energy, we have to explore those
One thing
things.
you haven't touched on before you go,
Yes.
of course, the crime rates have been on the increase. I think your party wrote a statement yesterday.
That is correct. We issued 2 press releases yesterday, one dealing with the visa situation, the U.S. visa situation, and one in reference to the escalating crimes in Dominica. Again, this is a very major issue, And in a lot of countries, the Minister of National Security will have to resign because clearly bringing SSU here did not help the situation. It was never really going to solve the situation. As I said on one of your previous programs, that was just a temporary fix. It's like having a wound, a surface wound, you put a little bandage over it and you expect it to go. But if the problem is beyond the surface, as it is with crimes, these problems are not going away. We really have to go into the roots of crimes in Dominica. But again, a dirty hand cannot make a dirty floor clean. You'll have to take a clean hand to clean a dirty floor.
Let's take a phone call quickly. Sorry, the person is gone, but let's wrap up the statement.
Yes, because what I'm saying is that the head of this country is rotten, and unfortunately the dirtiness from the head is permeating into the roots of Dominica. But before it goes too deep, we must dethrone this administration.
Call, are you there? I will give you 30 seconds. Are you there?
Yeah, Matt, I just came in. What diplomatic note you talking about?
Well, the Prime Minister wrote a diplomatic note to go to Washington to explain or try to find out a little more about why, Dominica was given a ban. That's what he said.
Okay, cannot listen to me. Can't do nothing again. It is too late. England and America closed for Dominicans. Thank you.
All right, that's Joshua.
Yes, so Matt, once again, let me say thank you. Kumau kadisa patwa. Merci. Merci, monsieur Matt, pour
No que voy a call, please.
Moke la moka alia film. How you say funeral in patwa? Letema. Well, talking about Letema, let me take the opportunity to express my sincerest condolences to the family and friends and committee of the two soldiers who were shot and killed in Portsmouth last weekend. Also to the family and friends of the young man who lost his life for a vehicular accident in Lale Coco, and condolences to all families mourning for a loved one. And also those in the hospital listening to Matt. A lot of Dominicans like Matt. Matt in the morning, Matt in the afternoon. But soon you'll have Matt in the night.
I've been asked to do that.
Matt all over. Matt in the morning, Matt for lunch, Matt for dinner. Yeah, but seriously, we have a country to rescue. And I'm calling on the listeners. Let us take back Dominica. But you do that by not just praying. It is faith and works. All right, so you have to go out there and convince a laborite or an apolitical person to join the opposition movement so that we can create a Dominica where joy, we want to create a community of joy. But for us to do that, we have to reclaim Dominica. We have to take it. We have to take our Whitey Kubuli. We have to take our nation back into our hands. Take it from these foreigners because this government has sold Dominica for 40 pieces of silver. And we have to break that relationship between Dominica and these foreign nationals, these foreign entities, these foreign nations that have a greater stake in Dominica than Dominicans themselves. And that is what UPP is about. Once again, you're invited to join the experience.
Talk to you sometime soon.
Support!